So we've always been dealing with the rubbish tax advice that is just completely made up. So whether it comes from ChatGPT or their bloke or their dad or whoever it is, it's like, yeah, fine, this is still wrong.
Beth, welcome to the Director First show. I'm really, really grateful that you've joined us and you're going to spend a little bit of time with us today chewing the fat. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Question. Obviously, your business is called Two Sisters Accounting. It's not a cute brand name. That there's a real story behind this. You've got a firm that you've built with your sister. Can you tell us a little bit about how that come about and what you're actually doing there at the moment?
I mean, it's honestly the first question I get asked every time people hear the company name is, oh, do you really run it with your sister? I'm like, yes, I do, because it would be a bonkers name otherwise. We have been going 7.5, nearly 8 years now, and it basically started out of a hatred of our other jobs. We both ended up in the accounting world. Her sort of planned mine just entirely by accident, but she was chartered accountant, was working in industry, had done the Big Four, done university, all that sort of stuff. So had like the really core chartered accountant experience. Whereas I left school at 17, ended up in a payroll department and then working in small accounting firms, doing the payroll, learning tax, bookkeeping, all that sort of stuff. It's very much by experience. I get bored very easily. So if I'd finished all the payroll, I'd just start picking up tax return records, putting them together, and then getting managers to look at them to sort of taught myself. And yeah, we both hated where we were working. It was really boring working for other people. We'd both sort of had finished all our work by like mid-afternoon Wednesday, and then you just have to sit in an office for 2 days doing nothing, just waiting for the week to be over. So we sort of thought, we have very complementary skills. Let's give it a go and see what happens. And it was very much a what's the worst that can happen over a glass of wine, and it worked.
That is amazing. So, I mean, obviously, I can identify because I work with my brother. Like me and Sean have worked together for years. Does it ever get a bit spicy? Are there ever any differences of opinions in your office?
Well, the way we put it is we don't touch each other's stuff, and that's why it works. She very much just sticks to limited company accounts and does what she needs to do there. I sort of do a lot of the business development, the payroll, the tax side. So we don't really touch each other's stuff. And also we are very similar and have, we've spent all our time together since we were born. So we're very good at reading each other and just going, you're annoying me today, leave me alone. And then the other one will go, oh, you're moody. And we'll go, yeah, all right, whatever. And then we'll make a cup of tea and that's that.
So there's been no massive bust-ups, no, not talking to each other for prolonged periods of time.
I think we've had a massive bust-up once as teenagers, and that was over who got to sit in the front seat of the car. Like, we're just not beefy people.
What's the age gap?
There's about 18 months, 2 years between us. And then there is an older sister as well. So I'm the youngest, Jessie's middle, and then there is another sister, but she went off to be a doctor and doesn't want to do accounting.
It's exactly the same as our Sean. He's probably 2 and a bit years younger than me, and he's very patient and easygoing, Sean, whereas I'm a bit less patient and less easygoing. But like if there was, but that compliments me because he's takes everything in his stride, doesn't get stressed. There used to be a thing in our office, like if I start to go like that, everyone would like, I show stress on my head, like if I'm struggling with something, that's what I do. I go like that, as if like massaging my brain to get over it, and like people start to duck for cover, or they used to. It's not so bad now. In your first few years in business, what was the biggest challenge that you faced?
Well, one of the biggest ones was actually in the first 2 months of business, because Jessie very selfishly decided to get pregnant. So within 2 months of setting up a business, we were both working full time when we started the business as well, because we sort of thought, slow and steady. I think a lot of business owners feel this real shame that if they're working part time or full time while they're getting their business set up, that they're not doing it properly or no one's going to take them seriously. But realistically, for most of us, we need income. So it's fine to be working elsewhere while you're getting your business off the ground. Yeah. Like it's something that a lot of people do. So working elsewhere, Jessie then having a baby, it was all just a little bit of chaos, but I think it's always is when you start up. So actually it was just, yeah, that was all fun. And then I think, again, at the start of business, you have to make mistakes of working for horrible clients that are big old red flags, but you take on anyway because you need the money and need the client base. And while your confidence is growing, that's just the lessons you have to make. Whereas, 7 years down the line, I'm very comfortable saying on a phone to a quote, I don't think we're the right match for you, thanks, bye. Whereas when it's it's your fifth person that you've ever quoted, whatever they say, you're like, yes, give me your business.
Yeah. I remember, right, when we first started, like the cost to do like a really basic liquidation might be £4,000. There's no real money in that. There's no profit. But I remember driving down south to do that for one appointment, and I'm like, yes, they've chosen to work with us, and I'm thinking. And then it was it was probably a year or two later when we started to look at that. I need to stop driving down south for these jobs because they don't pay. But I was the truth is surprised. Like, oh God, someone's actually putting the faith in me to do this.
Yeah.
And it's but God, I love hearing this. Big red flags. Tell me the big red flags for you when you speak to a potential client. What are you looking out for to make a sharp exit?
Anybody that's overly demanding early days, like my booking system is my diary booking link is available basically everywhere. And it's got set times that you can book in, set days of the week, because I need days where I'm head down gigs, left down answering clients. I can't spend all my life on the phone speaking to people. And if anybody's really demanding about, oh, well, why can't you do 5 p.m. on a Friday? I'm like, well, I don't work Fridays, and I'm never going to speak to a new client at 5 p.m. because that's not hours that I work. So I can sort of tell quite quickly then. Equally, if people are like, I do it this way, I like this is what I do, and are really regimented about it in a way that's not actually best for us to work with them, I sort of know that's not going to work. Anybody that says, I've been through 6 different accountants in the last 7 years, they're all the problem. I'm like,
There's a common denominator.
Yeah. You can just sort of tell, and also very much just how they speak to you on the phone and how I feel the rapport is, because now I'm at the point where I can say no to clients, which is very, very fortunate. I don't want to work with people I don't like working with. Life is too short. Like, that is something, unfortunately, I think you have to do in the early days of business to get it built up, to get a client base, to get your name out and reputation out and build your confidence and all of that. But once you've got it, you have the privilege of going, no, thank you.
I always find that like the lesson that I've learned is those early clients, the problem ones, they just took up so much time as well. And when you work back your hourly rate, and then like you get, and I just didn't know the difference, me, until I found as we got a better reputation and people started to know us, we got some really big jobs, and you were thinking, oh crikey, we can build that on this job, and it's so easy to deal with. The more sophisticated, it's like, and I'd be ringing them, I'm going, I'm just checking in, are you okay? You're going, yeah, we're fine, Chris, just call us when it's done, as opposed to that person who is on the phone all the time asking the same questions. Do you ever get this at the moment where somebody has been on ChatGPT and they're not ringing really for your advice or your opinion? I get it all the time now where they ring me telling me what they're going to do because they've that's their answer on ChatGPT, and I'm just like, I says it's wrong. It doesn't make sense what you're saying. Have you started to get that in the accountancy world?
We have always had people that come to us and go, I mean, in the accountancy world, it's synonymous with Dave down the pub said to do this. So we've always been dealing with
the insolvency world. There's a Dave down the pub in every town, isn't there?
So we've always been dealing with the rubbish tax advice that is just completely made up. So whether it comes from ChatGPT or their bloke or their dad or whoever it is, it's like, yeah, fine, this is still wrong.
And go on, so I imagine it's holidays through work, Savile Row suits through work. What are the big? Well, go on. What are the biggest headaches that people have tried to get past you?
Yeah, wild expenses happen a lot. Dogs, pets, dog walkers, haircuts. Oh, I need to look nice because it's for my business. No, any of that. Just get really used to. Funnily enough, it leads into the insolvency world. We get a lot of people going, no, my mate said if I just shut down the business, HMRC is not going to come after me for the tax bill because it's in the business's name and it's not my fault and I can just leave the business behind. I'm like, yeah, sure, try that. I just tend to pass them off. I'm like, go speak to someone else. They can take every penny out of their business. That comes up a lot. People get very, very, and I completely understand why, but they get very cross. They're like, well, I can't afford to live off what my business is paying me. How can you expect me to pay this tax? I'm struggling to pay my bills. How do you think I'm going to pay this tax bill? And it's like, unfortunately, HMRC don't care. Like if you're not making enough money to fund your lifestyle in a POE job, your tax is still coming off it. So as a business owner or a self-employed person, you still have to pay your tax.
And I think sort of like fundamentally that, because obviously I deal with, I mean, not personally, but we might get 500 to 600 inquiries a month. They're not all insolvencies. We probably do 40 to 50 insolvencies per month, and that can be liquidation, administration, helping negotiate with HMRC. But fundamentally, the amount of business owners, because the first thing we're saying, right, what's going on? Give us an idea, tell us what's going on. Right, okay, can I see some data? Send me a profit and loss, send me some age creditors, and send me a balance sheet. Well, when do you want the balance sheet from? Well, I need it as soon as possible, as accurate as possible. Well, I've just got my accounts. I said, okay, so go on company's house, 18 months out of date.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're as much use to me and you as a chocolate tea cozy. Why do you think directors are so illiterate when it comes to business finances?
Do you know what? It's actually a conversation I've had with a few people recently with business owners who have been in this position. And they said, like, they were very honest. They were like, I started this up as a, let's try and see what happens. I wasn't taking it self-seriously. I just thought this was, a little hobby, a side thing, something just to keep me entertained. And now something I need to start being a grown-up and I need to actually understand these numbers and I need to know what's going on. And that's sort of sometimes 3-4 years down the line into business. And I'm like, but you've been doing this for 4 years without actually understanding if you're even making a profit on what you're doing. And a lot of people try and blame that on accountants and they go, you're not being proactive enough. You're not telling me what's going on in my business. I'm like, but if you're not on software, you're not paying me to do your bookkeeping. And I'm only seeing your bank statements when I've chased you for them for 6 months after your year end date. I don't know what you think I can do, buddy. Like, yeah, we are just doing compliance at that point because that's all you're engaged with. So I think for a lot of people, it's that they hadn't really started their business with the idea that it was going to be proper, serious adult stuff. So they just don't take it seriously. Equally with people that are like, well, I can't be employed, so I have to be self-employed. I think people just don't really see that there's more to being a business owner than just working for yourself, taking your kids to school, having holiday when you want it. Like, they don't realize how much hard work goes into it, from marketing straight through to actually understanding your numbers, taking them seriously and being engaged with it. Like, I think there's this horrible rumor that being a business owner is really easy and easier than being employed. And it's just nonsense.
Yeah. It's, you're absolutely right. And I sort of, my story was I was that guy for years, and it's embarrassing to say it now because I have got educated. I get a profit and loss on the 3rd of the month.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I go through it, my balance sheet. But there was a time where I go, well, bringing about that, costs are about that, we're sound. And it was only when someone called me out on it once, and it really, really bothered me. And I thought, you know what, I need to become educated on this, and it really helped me. I used to spend perhaps not one weekend a month, but I would ruin at least one weekend every couple of months, thinking I'm going out of business, or thinking that my marketing's not working, or thinking, well, that was the problem. I was thinking with no data. It was like, and then I'd start to create these atrocious spreadsheets that didn't make any sense. I'd spend all weekend looking at it. And then I'd realize on Monday, I'm going to be all right. Fucking hell. You know, it was only someone got me on. They didn't get me on Zero. I mean, here's another thing. People say Zero's so easy, anyone can use it. Like, I made a hash of that. I made a hash of that for 2 years. And I tried to cut costs because I didn't want to go and get a bookkeeper because I thought, I can't believe I'm saying this. Many years ago, I wanted to save 300 quid a month. I got a girl in my office to do it who said, yeah, Chris, it can't be that hard. And then I had to pay thousands for the accountant to go back and fix all our mistakes.
Yeah.
I was the typical guy who did not see account. I didn't see a finance function as an investment. I saw it cost every month.
Yeah.
And I was a fool.
Most people do. You know, a lot of people will just go, but I know what's in my bank account, it's fine. But then they're not thinking about tax or anything like that. They're literally just running day to day off their bank balance. And then we say, you know, you've made more money than you thought. You've got to pay HMRC £8,000. And they go, but where am I going to get that from? I've only got 200 quid in my bank account. And I'm like, this is why you sort of need to be engaged. At least hide your tax from yourself as you're earning the money. Like, but with the software adverts, honestly, should be taken to like advertising standards because they are just absolutely obscene. People go, but why would I have an accountant? I've got QuickBooks. I'm like, all right, tell me how you get on with that, and we'll chat. And the mess people can make in Xero and QuickBooks it's phenomenal. Yeah. And then when we try and fix it, I mean, usually what we say is, this is what's wrong. Would you like to try and fix it? And they go, no, of course I don't. And I go, well, it'll cost you this much. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, this is, you know, this is why we offer people to do it for people. And it sounds really like, of course, you know, silly little people don't know how to use Xero. It's not like that at all. I don't know how to plaster a wall. And if I tried, it would be an absolute disaster and people would really laugh at me and I'd probably have to get the house rebuilt. And because of these adverts and because people want to save money, they see accounting as the same thing. But it's just, you know, we've done it for so many years and trained and got the skill of it. It's the same as any skill.
And listen, I completely get it. I mean, obviously one of the messages that we pass on to all of these directors that we speak to, the percentage of them that have accurate monthly management information is very, very low. So we say to them, listen, you've got to, they all think their accountants should be doing this. Some accountants do not want to do bookkeeping. They're literally just year-end people, which is fine. But I say to every single one of them, you have to go out there and get a bookkeeper. It doesn't matter what you're turning over, because otherwise, how do you know if you're making money? How do you know where you're losing money? How do you, I mean, we touched on it earlier. You said that I can't afford to live on the money I'm taking from the business and pay the tax. Well, that business isn't viable, isn't it? But I wonder, the actual exercise of sitting down and going, right, I need this much this year to live. And then you can reverse engineer everything back, can't you?
We did actually, because this is a conversation that I have all the time and I'm very much like problem solution. I have actually created a free calculator, just little plug to get people on my mailing list. I have created a free calculator for sole trader or limited company. You can put in how much you want to take home. I then reverse back. I work out all the tax you're going to pay on that and then the profit that you need within your business to do that. You then obviously need to add on your business running costs and all your other expenses, but it will tell you once you've paid all your business expenses, how much profit you need within that business to pay yourself what you need to live on, because enough people aren't working it backwards. If you then see, right, so I need to make a profit of 100 grand to pay me what I want after all the tax and to pay my household costs, and then I need to add on another 75 grand of business costs. And then you're looking at that, right, I need to be a turnover of 175 grand. I'm never going to make that. I'm only charging people 60 quid an hour. You can see there's a huge problem there and you need to either completely readjust what your business is doing or your lifestyle. But too many people are just running around blind and then it does stress you out. And again, I know everybody has this fear of numbers. They sort of have this, their maths teacher wasn't nice to them at school. They didn't get quadratic equations or Pythagoras and stuff. Your accounting, yes, it's numbers, but it's data. It's not actually numbers. No one's really going to make you do maths. Software and spreadsheets can do all of that for you. I'm not asking you to know your times tables. I'm asking you to just put aside half an hour to put some numbers in and think about what you need. And it's just data. It's not maths.
And for anybody who wants that calculator, we will be getting the show notes off Beth before this goes. So you just literally go in the comment section below and all the details will be there, including this calculator. I've noticed that you sort of, from what I can gather, you work with sort of rapid growth businesses, consultants, recruiters. There's a wide range of customers that you have. What are the different finance pains that you see each of those groups coming to you with? And how do you help them with those various pains?
Nobody's that special. Nobody's business pains are that different. It's always, usually it starts with pointing out to them that they're not actually making a profit on their services, or their profit margin is significantly less than they thought it was. So profit margins are always a problem, and it's very rare that we see startup businesses with really healthy, sensible profit margins to actually cover their costs. So that's quite often something we have to fix. Tax bills, nobody likes paying them. Nobody remembers they exist. So again, it's making sure that people are saving their tax as they're earning the money, accounting for that, thinking about that. Across all businesses, uploading their receipts, I think, is, if somebody could find a way to make receipts just go straight into the receipt scanning thing without having to forward on an email and without having to take a photo, they would be a very rich person, because I do not know a single business owner that likes sending you their receipts. It is always an argument. No matter what we try to do. So everyone's sort of, and then cash flow, the standard of somebody's not paid you even though you've invoiced it and you're spending money you don't have yet, and all of that sort of stuff, and just not really thinking about when money's coming in and when it's going out. But all businesses struggle with the same thing. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. Everybody's the same. And I'm speaking to more and more people about payment plans with HMRC, because everybody's tight for money at the moment, and more and more people are going, and the shame around it, because nobody really talks about the fact that more, especially like sole traders, are struggling to pay their tax bill, and everyone's going, I'm so embarrassed, I'm the only one. It's like, you're just not. You're just not the only one. If you're struggling to pay HMRC, it's not a good position to be in, and obviously we'd prefer you save the taxes, you earn it, but you're not unique in falling behind.
I can categorically state I get at least 600 business owners a month that owe HMRC money and can't pay them. Yeah. Every single one. Two things I want to dive into there, though. You mentioned cash flow. So, cash flow, profit, explain, because I see businesses that are decent businesses end up insolvency because of one thing: they run out of cash. Explain to us the difference between cash flow and profit.
Well, so turnover is what you bill. It's what you've invoiced your clients. You then take all your expenses off, so everything you're paying out to run your business to make things happen. You get your profit. You're then going to pay tax on your profit. And then we have the separate thing, which is your bank account, which has all the money in. And people sort of go, but I've had a profit of £100,000. I absolutely haven't. I've only got X amount in the bank account. But what you're not considering in your profit is, what have you paid yourself? How much tax have you had? Who owes you money? Because quite often people are very bad at credit control. They sort of go, oh yeah, well, Barry owes me 12.5 grand from 3 years ago. And I'm like, well, what have you done to get that back? Oh, nothing. He'll pay eventually. I'm like, well, it's clearly not going to. So, and people don't sort of think about when they need to pay out versus when they're getting money in. And it can be a real juggle. And it's quite often, as the business gets bigger, it becomes more of a crunch. And I'm not sure why that is. I guess it's just you've got more going out and more that you're due to come in, and there's more plates to juggle. But it's much easier when you're sort of only getting paid by a handful of clients to always know when your next invoice is coming in and being sorted.
I say to some people, I say, listen, you could really do with a 13-week rolling cash flow. And I'm on a Google Meet like this, and they go white and go, right, what do you mean, Chris? So, like, what is the most basic? Do you have any templates for cash flows?
I do. We've got a whole free resource library on the website, which we can put in here. And all I want,
you might.
I've got a viability calculator. I've got a profit margin calculator. I've got loads of stuff. And I like creating these things because it helps small businesses, which is ultimately what I care about. I want the small business community to thrive. I think we are basically the entire UK economy, and see if I can help people do better. And then, it's one of those things. They get my free calculators. They go, gosh, she's helpful and she makes it simple. And then eventually they make me their accountant. It's not entirely virtuous, but it does help.
I have a very sneaky business model too. I've been doing funny videos around insolvency. Well, I don't know if they're funny anymore, but I've been doing videos on insolvency for years and years on YouTube that explains everything that anyone ever needs to know about insolvency from a director's point of view. And my hope is I give all that free advice away. And out of that, when they need to do something, we've built up that much goodwill. It's an easy decision to make. But you've got to put like you said, it's not entirely virtuous. There's a lot of hard work that goes into it, isn't there? There's a lot of free advisory. There's a lot of speaking to somebody that really, that they haven't got a problem right now, but they've got one coming down, maybe one in the line. And it's just spinning that spider's web of goodwill, isn't it? And eventually, if you're consistently doing the right thing and giving that info out, people come back, don't they?
Yeah, and it helps because I do like helping small businesses and I do want people to succeed. And when someone comes to me in a right tears because they don't understand what they owe HMRC, and I know it will take me 5 minutes to fix it, but it will take them 2 days and a lot of tears, like just morally, I can't not fix it for them. And then, good things go around to the world, they'll come back. So it's just a nice way.
Think though, right? That is quite because everyone says, oh yeah, I like helping people, blah, blah, blah. And it's a soundbite for a lot of people. It really is. Especially in my industry. And I also believe in your industry. I think actually people whether you're an accountant or you're in insolvency, there's not many people who will go out of their way for no fee, initially anyway, to really help a small business owner. And I found that's been an area that's allowed us to grow as a business because we've gone that extra mile. We've shown that we really care with people. And even if you don't win a job there, if they've had a good experience with you, they'll tell whoever it is. And like we've had stuff come back from years ago and it's like, where have you found out about us? Oh, you spoke to Roger. When did you speak to Roger? Before COVID? I'm thinking it's 2025. But it really helps that, doesn't it? It really sets yourself apart from other people.
Yeah, and like obviously there's a line if somebody's trying to be on the phone for 3 hours getting advice on how to do everything themselves. It's like, no. But just
you might need an engagement letter at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But if it is just a quick something or, somebody's just asking for some advice on something, it's like how I imagine you probably do it with other insolvency practitioners that come to you and go, I'm really struggling with this, or like I have it with accountants that aren't as far along with their journey as we are. And they come to me and they go, Beth, what do you do about this? Or how do you handle this? Or what do you do in this situation? I'm not going to turn around and go, no, I'm not answering that. You're my competition or any nonsense like that. I'm just like, yeah, sure. Like I'll help you out. I've done it to accountants that are further along their journey than me when I've gone to them and gone, just would you mind helping me out? I just think it's a nicer way to operate and it does all eventually work out.
Yeah. And I think like the idea of collaboration, it's funny. You've got, not everyone in our industry is like that. There's like some real dickheads. I'm going to call it as it is, like really snidey and snipe at you. And it's like, man, just, you get on with yours, we'll get on with ours. Don't worry about it. But we know that we're doing stuff when we get under people's skin. It's like, I suppose you've got to see it as a compliment. I'm going to talk about HMRC, right?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
People are frightened to death of picking the phone up to the revenue, and I'm going to share a story again. I come into this so strange. I wasn't somebody who went to uni. I was a business owner that faced insolvency, went through an insolvency process and realized, crikey, there's nothing out there to advise directors around this. I was like a rabbit in the headlights, but I'll tell you how I dealt with an HMRC a large VAT bill and a recent corporation tax bill. So I was in my office, and we was on a farm, and an HMRC, it's a long time ago, this is an HMRC enforcement agent who I've got quite friendly with over the last 10 years. He came to our office, and I wasn't in, and he's gone up the stairs to speak to somebody about this unpaid VAT bill and corporation tax bill. And they've rang me, and I've come back, and they've told me about it, and I thought, right, there's only one way to solve this. And I put a lock on the door so he couldn't walk in the next time, right? Because I was frightened to death of picking the phone up, right?
Yeah, that's solving the problem. Absolutely. HMRC do go away if you ignore them for long enough, famously.
Well, they couldn't walk in the door the next time. I knew that as much, not without me letting them in. But like literally, that's where I was probably about 15 years ago. So let's dispel some myths around HMRC. People out there have got unpaid VAT, unpaid POE, unpaid corporation tax, combination of all three. What would you be advising them to do, Beth?
Obviously, it depends on amounts and stuff. But if you're fairly small and you owe HMRC £1,000, they're not going to take your house. Like, I have to remind people of this all the time. It looks really, really bad if HMRC start making people homeless over relatively small amounts of tax. They're just not going to do it. We all hate phone calls. I know it's like a generational thing. Nobody likes picking up the phone. But I would say 8 out of 10 people on the HMRC payment helplines are really kind and really helpful. And they're very used to people crying down the phone at them and having an absolute mare, and they will be really kind. Yes, there are a few that are horrible, but if you get one of them, just hang up and speak to someone else. Some of them do get their job.
Can I jump in there? Because that's such an important point, right? I get it as well, where they're going, like, it's a real reasonable request for time to pay. And they've rang up and they've rejected it. And I've said, right, I says, you're going to find this really strange, what I'm about to tell you now. But ring back tomorrow at a different time and you may get a different result. And they're like, there's no way that's going to work.
It does.
And it does, doesn't it? You know?
As with every walk of life, some people have a power trip and love being mean to other people just to make themselves feel better. And the HMRC is no different. And some people are horrible. Like, they will just be mean to you because they can. But if you speak to someone else, they'll be lovely. I always tell people overshare to HMRC. Be really honest about why you can't pay. Tell them what's going on. Tell them your struggles. Tell them that your dog's died and your mum's in hospital and all of that. Because, again, they have a duty of care to taxpayers. So the more you tell them about why everything's going wrong and it's terrible, that they have to have a bit more compassion. If you just call up and go, yeah, spent it, because you're embarrassed about what you did, then they're going to be a lot meaner to you. If you have a real legitimate reason about why you've fallen behind, they're going to be a lot nicer to you.
And I think, like, if we sort of like go up through the levels, even if you are watching this and you might owe them 20 grand, you might owe them 200 grand. Listen, I deal with companies that owe 2 million, and it's all relative, especially if you're a limited company. The reality is the revenue will want to support you if you are going to them with a proposal that's got some legitimacy to it. And I always find if you can go there with a cash flow and sort of an explanation as to what's happened, certainly if you're getting up to those larger amounts, you've got more. Here's a question. What is the best time to pay arrangement you've ever negotiated for a client?
Oh, do you know what? I actually don't negotiate it for clients because I leave it to them, because I'm like, you know the ins and outs of your finances, you know what you can actually pay. We don't tend to get involved in it. I've seen some impressive ones that sort of business support consultants have done, and it blows my mind. And then I look at their bank statements and see within 6 months they've not paid one of the payments, and I'm like, you're just an idiot.
Well, I think that's the problem, isn't it? And that people are they just want the problem gone, so they'll agree to anything. I mean, okay, that they may fundamentally, if you've got no hope of recovery, you do not believe this business is going to get out of the mire, you've got to speak to someone like me.
Yeah.
Because if you fail that time to pay, they're going to wind you up, and they're going to take the they're going to take the decision out of your hands. I mean, we'll do time to pay arrangements if the debt is big enough.
Yeah.
Because we used to do it, and we would bill, like, back in the old days when I drive to bloody Brighton for a £4,000 job. What I also did is I would charge £500 or £1,000 to do a time to pay. And then I would spend hours, and I'm talking hours, Beth, on the phone trying to get these deals done with HMRC, because they don't want to talk to you. They'd much rather speak to the director. And it was like...
Yeah, and we don't know, the director will say to us, we'll say to them, how much can you afford to pay every month? What's your numbers? Run the numbers with them, which again is like a 3-4 hour job. And they'll come out and they'll say, oh, I can give HMRC 67p a month. And then you're going to HMRC and they're going, well, that's not an option. And then you sort of have to do the back and forth and the back and forth and the back and forth, which is why it's like tax for us, the directors need to do it, or the taxpayer needs to do it, because if we're trying to do it for them, it just never works.
I've got to talk about this post that I saw you write, and it was about bras and crystals.
Yeah. True story. One of the business groups I was in many a year ago, someone came along and said, I don't know what to do. I am at my wit's end. I've got all the right crystals in my bra. I'm manifesting. My energy is aligned with the universe, but I still can't pay my mortgage, and I just don't know what else to do. And then I was like, well, what are you doing other than weighing your bra down? Well, I post on Instagram once a week, right? And my Facebook page has 100 people in it, and I post on the local Facebook groups. And I was like, right, so marketing you're not doing, and your numbers, have you looked at them? Do you know what you're charging, what your profit margin is, how many clients you need a month to make what you need to earn? No. And I just sort of thought of, what are you doing then? Like, you just think clients are going to find you and just pay you $3,000 for existing? It's just not going to happen. And, it was a nice business, but was it a business with a real need for the price that she was trying to pay? It was one of those people that had gone, well, if I charge, $3,000 a session, I only really need one person a month, but then was doing nothing to find that one person a month, and no one was going to pay $3,000 for it. So you just need to be so realistic and work hard, and none of that was happening.
And it sort of leads me into what I actually, one of the points I really want to talk to you about. So you talk about numbers and marketing, okay, like the pillars of a business, and it's quite an odd thing. It's quite an odd duo for an accountant to be talking about. Okay, numbers, get it, right? And I sort of had a bit of a joke with you before when I first spoke to pitch about the show. Is our first problem was finding finance people that were interested. Like thank God we have found some great people like you. But like a lot of accountants, when you talk to them about sales and marketing, it's like, oh no, we just rely on referral. And like, listen, we have such a solid referral base here, but I can't grow my business. I can't predict my business on referrals. So could you sort of talk to us? I think you've launched a program that talks about pricing, forecasting, mindset, and there's accountability on the marketing side, which I really like. Why those two pillars together?
But I think it comes from where we built our business. We started our business. A lot of accounting practices start because they reach partner level where they were working, they leave, and once their non-compete runs out, they whip a load of clients. Most accounting practices start with a book of clients of some description. We started with absolutely nothing. We started with no clients. And much like people don't see accountancy as something worth spending on, we couldn't pay for marketing. We had no money to pay for marketing. We started this like bootstrap business. So I had to learn how to market. I had to work out how to market and grow a business. And I'm lucky that I enjoy it, and I like business development, and I find it really fun and interesting. And marketing is a game of seeing what works and talking to people and making people like you. Ultimately, marketing is making people like you, which, you know, who doesn't want to be liked? So it's fun, and I found it enjoyable. And I don't know how you think you can grow a business if nobody knows your business exists. I think for me, a really harsh part of growing up was realizing that you can be the absolute best at something and it really doesn't matter, because if nobody knows you're the best at something, it means nothing. So actually working really hard at being a really good accountant means relatively little if nobody knows I exist. So I have to get really good at making sure people know I exist. And I see too many businesses, they love being a recruiter. They love getting on the phone and recruiting and doing all of that. They hate marketing, they're not interested in it. They hate the numbers, they're not interested in it. But if you're a business owner and you're choosing to be a business owner, you've got to do all those things. Otherwise, you may as well be an employee. Could you be better off being an employee for the right employer that's not going to try and control you and annoy you and do all those things if you don't want to do everything that comes with being a business owner? It's like a full package. And so there's skills that we've got, the skills that we've developed. And if we can help other business owners with that, who are struggling to grow their business because they've not got their marketing right and they've not got their numbers right and they don't know what they're doing, it's a sort of hand-in-hand package that we can do. Obviously, I don't claim to be a marketing expert, but I do know what's worked, what's grown my business. And I know a lot of marketing is just trial and error and consistency and getting it done. But most people don't like consistency and getting it done.
And I find like YouTube, for instance, like we started videos on insolvency in early 2020, and literally for 3 years no one watched them. Like literally nobody watched them. But you just look at the graph and it goes bang.
Yeah.
And it took us 3 years of, I mean, we did really well with Facebook originally, and then it just fell off a cliff. Facebook, you know, when COVID happened and like everyone's on Facebook and insolvency was something people might be interested in, and then I remember like 2 years ago, TikTok was great. Like I mean, I just got it so wrong who went on TikTok, and like it was great for 12 months, and then it just fell off. And you've got to. And I got a lot of stick for it, mate. Like people used to take the piss. Like other people in our industry would take the piss out of us. And
but that's because they're jealous and scared.
Yeah, and it was like, you know what? You've got to do it, haven't you? And it comes across, don't you? Like you on camera, you are able to sort of you put you, and some people will really like it. Some people don't like it. Like I don't wear a suit to work. I think some people like that. Some people hate that, and they want to speak to an insolvency guy who spouts the Insolvency Act with a shirt and tie on. They're never going to be my client anyway.
No, exactly.
How did you get comfortable doing it? Because I must admit that I had like years of second guessing, thinking, "Oh my God, what do people think of me?" Blah 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 blah. Everyone thinks I'm a dickhead. Da, da, da.
I think ultimately you have to lose all shame. Once you've lost shame, it's fine. Once you and there is still, I mean, obviously it's easier said than done. There are days when I go into the comment section of a TikTok video that's done all right.
Oh, don't. It's horrible, TikTok.
And you just think, why am I even doing this? And you have people that are saying, no, but you can do this. They talk about Dave down the pub, Dave on TikTok that goes, nah, that's not right. This is right. Or you can do this. And you literally put the Finance Act link to HMRC in the comments and they're like, yeah, but I don't care about your logic. You don't need to argue the logic around this with me. HMRC will say no, and I know they will. But once you just accept that you could post what you think is the least offensive, fluffiest, easiest video, someone will take offense to it. Someone will have comment. And like I say, it's easier said than done. Some days it will still make you want to cry or it will make you really angry. But on the whole, you've just got to ignore the people on the internet. Your people will find you and like you. And just lose all shame. You've just got to get used to it. Filming videos is horrible. I'm sure some people enjoy it. But, when people go, well, it's easy for you. You really like social media. I'm like, look at my personal social media. Nothing goes on there. I don't like social media. It's a necessary evil to grow this business and to make it happen. And also, because I'm aware if I'm not posting on social media, I'm going to have to be networking 5 days a week. And I don't want to get out of bed at 6 a.m. for a shit bacon sandwich. So I'm going to have to post a video on the internet.
Listen, I'm with you. And do you not notice that, like, it's when you get something that goes viral, like for us, like, I tell you where's back worse for us is LinkedIn. Right? When we have a post that goes nuclear on LinkedIn and it goes everywhere, we just get like not everybody. We get a lot of really nice comments, but we will have people like firing pot shots, and like, you know, it would really bother me, like keep me up all weekend. And then like, I remember this one guy, like he was basically calling me out for something. And I thought, anyway, it was nonsense. And I went on his website and he had a blog almost verbatim what I was saying.
Yeah.
And he called me out and I thought, I've had enough of this. And I just went, listen, pal, I says, you're giving, and I says, well, have a look at this web page. And it's on your website saying the exact same thing you are castrating me for.
Yeah.
And then he went on, he edited all his comments and he deleted his web page that he had it on. I just thought, I'm blocking you. I can't cope with this type of hate. You know what I mean? And it didn't really bother me. And like TikTok,
yeah,
that is like really bad for. I can sort of laugh on TikTok. On LinkedIn, it really offends me because it's like you're meant to be a professional.
Yeah, I think it's easy on TikTok because I think we've all learned it's just a quagmire of the internet. Like it's a great business source when it's going well, but it is an absolute cesspit of people, and there's so many trolls on there. With LinkedIn, you do sort of have slightly higher standards. You think it's a slightly safer space because it's more business to business and all that. But ultimately, people in comment sections are often sad, miserable people that don't like themselves, and you just sort of have to remember that. Like, I know I would never go into a comment section and attack the person that's posting a video, even if it's something I really violently disagreed with. I know that the way to deal with life is not to get narky in comment sections. It causes me more stress and unhappiness than it does the person that's receiving the comments. And that's just sort of something as a well-adjusted, happy human being that you come to know. So you just have to know that the people in comment sections are not well-adjusted, happy human beings, and sort of just think, that's sad for you. Let's leave you in your little box of hate.
Amen to that. Beth, I'm going to wrap up now. But before I do, if listeners take one action after this episode, what should it be? And where can we find more about you?
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go full cheeky plug. If you take one action, go to my website, download all my free resources, and then you can work out how much you need to make in your business to pay yourself. You can do a viability check, you can have a cash flow check, you can profit margin check, all these sorts of things, plus loads of handy guides that will tell you, you know, if you're a new business and you're thinking, should I be a sole trader or a limited company? We cover all of that. So just educate yourself, I think, is it. And if you educate yourself via me, then that makes me happy. But I think ultimately educate yourself on being a business owner. It's really easy to go, this is just a fun little game I'm playing to avoid having to go to an office and work for someone else 5 days a week. But it's not. You need to take yourself seriously.
Are you going to find all best downloads and contact details in the comment section below? There'll be full show notes. Beth, I just had a scan at all the questions I wanted to ask you, and I've not asked you 90% of them, but it's because you've been such a good guest. And it's been a real good natter.
I just love chat.
Thank you very, very much for joining us on the show. And I'm going to end the podcast now. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.